When I finally get my computer up, the format will be in the chat log, right?
I'll put it in the chat log, yeah.
Thank you.
Who does?
There we are. Hey, Omega. Hey, Omega. Hey, Yankum.
Hey, Gunner.
Guess what I heard the other day?
Let's see. Was it a billion groans? Having spent $9.99 and getting an awful pay-per-view whose only good part was a Sheamus match?
No. It was the grunt and groan of a distinctly faint baby girl. As someone decides to typically spill their guts all over the floor. Literally. Also, Omega BR likes Kesha. Shocking news. We'll start the show. I guess I'm playing the music.
I guess so. It's supposed to be playing. It is not. Hold on.
We can pull us away. More like 10 tons of steel. We're back to walk, to take down blue. You'll be good at that inside if you only listen to me. Get serious. Oh, get serious. Get serious. Enough! Hello everybody and welcome to Wooo Get Serious. My name is Gunner and that is Omega BR.
Can't believe you started without me. I was getting my Snapple.
What's the interesting fact?
Charlie Chaplin once failed to make the finals of a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest.
Wow, that's impressive. Joining us this week,
also not true.
Joining us this week is our wonderful sound producer, Mr. I Fuck Up Everything, DDS.
This is called Wooo Get Serious, not Woo Spreads Urban Legends that probably half the listeners don't even know who Charlie Chaplin is.
Am I under your skin right now?
You won't be under my skin.
That's disgusting. Speaking of things that are disgusting, the one and only Matt Jester.
Urban legends, fact and fiction. Wait a second. We're not on Kotaku now, are we?
You mean that site that you love so much? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Let's start off with something relevant, and that's the news. Roman Reigns had an emergency surgery on Saturday for an incarcerated hernia and is expected to be up for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Plans for Hell in a Cell are said to be up in the air, with Raw being rewritten as it was airing. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. You're writing it as it's airing? Are you fucking serious, bro?
Not the first time. Certainly won't be the last time.
Paul Heyman
knows.
Paul Heyman not being used, with no advertised appearances for Brock Lesnar. Hindu business.
Damn.
Say what now?
What the hell?
What?
I'll take
What is it? Did it cut out?
You cut out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Right
sorry.
after Hindu Business Line.
Hindu Business Line reports that WWE and 10 Sports have invested just over $100 million to expand the Indian market with new merchandise and technology. German goalkeeper Tim Weiss has been scouted, and Wildcat sports star Paul Nguyen, I can never pronounce that name, has been signed. Something big may be in the works for Steve Austin after the WWE has been plugging his podcast more heavily. Okay, so a few things here. WWE expanding into India.
Finally going after that tall market.
Ring King.
Exactly. By the way, whatever happened to Ring King? Are they still operational?
No, that was an experiment mostly by the Jeff Jarrett and the things, and the reason why they didn't make it anymore was because it didn't make enough money.
Yeah, thought about that. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure who Tim Weiss is, and I'm not exactly sure who Paul Nyagan is, but hey, bringing new stars, that's all good. And are we going to have an official WWE podcast head honchoed by Steve Austin?
We could. I mean, that could be a very, very big possibility. I could actually see them bringing Colt on just to be a podcast guy. Like, legitimately, I could see them bringing in... I could see them buying out Colt Cabana and him heading up, like, the podcast, like, you know, end of things. Like, not the technical end, but as in the, I'm going to coach you all how to make an entertaining podcast kind of thing.
Okay, that works.
There's always the rumor that he might be prepping for another WrestleMania match. You know, I'm sure he has one more left in him. By the way, it's pronounced win.
Thank you.
Roman Reigns with a strangulated hernia. Damn, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's...
Incarcerated hernia. A strangulated hernia is when you take your small intestine and you put it in a fucking sleeper hold.
Well, that is kind of what happened. Apparently his intestines kind of wrapped around the hernia, and they had to force it back in its hernia sac.
Jesus Christ.
Although a lot of people saying, you know, this is kind of an opportune time for Dean Ambrose to kind of take center stage, whereas Roman Reigns, the rumored golden boy going into WrestleMania, but the timing here, pretty good. And it's not the first time that's happened, you know. Even guys like Austin himself kind of took advantage of other higher acts sort of going on the shelf.
Well, I can honestly say that at least Dean Ambrose is back, and more power to him. Thank goodness for that, at least. Don't know exactly how long they were going to have him on the shelf there.
Right. Whatchamacallit? Okay, we have two new signings, which is interesting, but Roman Reigns being out, my God, this roster is just so thin right now. It's ridiculous. I mean, with Cena retiring, okay, think of this in the next 2 years, right? Your top guy is going to be Roman? Really? Maybe Daniel if he comes back?
Oh, we need to do some more roster buffing up. That's the long and the short of it. They need to be calling up more guys from NXT. They need to be getting more draftees out of the recruitment center or the trainment center or whatever they're calling it this week. And we just need to thick up this roster some.
Well, you know, I would make the argument that Rusev might be on the slow but sure track to a main event spot, and I'll get into that more often. More, I should say, when we get to the pay-per-view. But speaking of thin, it seems that TNA has recently had meetings with potential silent investors for a sale of a minority stake, the price for which would be around $10 million. They've also had talks with two other networks, even stronger than WGN or Discovery Velocity, one even stronger than Spike. Kurt Angle's TNA contract has expired as of Sunday night, no word, of course, on where he's going or what he's doing, and Austin Aries' contract may have already expired as well. Although Bully Ray is returning to finish the tag team series and will appear at Bound for Glory when Team 3D gets inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. Also, TNA has signed Indian Ring Ka King wrestler Mahabali Shera and put up an article about former WWE announcer Josh Matthews appearing at TNA headquarters, but then quickly took that down. And while dates are booked for the Manhattan Center once again in January, there are no other live events scheduled in the United States for the rest of the year.
So basically what you're telling me is that they've taped all the Impact tapings, and they are basically a defunct company for 8 weeks out of this year?
Yeah, more or less. I think, we'd said before they might do some specials, do some clip show specials, studio specials. I remember one time, I think it was WCW, they were scheduled for an arena that had a tornado warning or something like that, and so it was essentially the announcers doing a little round table as a recap of what had been happening, and so imagine however many episodes of something like that happening.
Oh yeah. Oh god, best of.
Tornadoes. But well, all I can hope for is somebody gets behind TNA and puts them on the air again, unless we really want it to be the Chikara that never came back. Other than that, does everybody in the WWE not have an appearance, non-compete contract for about a year after they leave? Josh Matthews, appearing on TNA, but then HQ quickly took that down? WTF?
Well, probably because they didn't exactly sign anything. And Josh is like, please hire me back, WWE! At some point down the line. And that's not terribly surprising. Kurt having his contract expired, but Triple H being like, no, Kurt, we don't want you in the goddamn company. I expect Kurt in the company sometime within the next 2 years. I think that he is not going to wrestle for TNA or for anyone else at this particular point. Austin Aries should be in the WWE. Period. End of story.
Here.
And I want to see him do that, and I would like the return of the Dudley Boys just to feud with pretty much everyone. And I want to see more Dudleys and the Young Bucks, just because super kicks for life. Anyways, speaking of super kicks, there's talk of bringing more NXT talents up, such as Tyler Breeze, joining the Miz's entourage. Adam Rose's Bunny has allegedly been played by both Justin Gabriel and Sami Zayn, and apparently there's also been rumors of Darren Young being revealed as the Bunny. Most developmental contracts are said to be in the $25,000 range for beginners, with 2 to 3 year commitments, though divas earn in excess of twice that due to increased upkeep. Regarding Kenta's name being changed to Hideo Itami, apparently Hideo comes from far and will be featured Hideo Nomo, which I called, and Itami has to do with the Naruto manga! Oh my god, that is awesome.
What?
Yeah!
Which character?
Itami!
What's that one?
I don't know. I don't watch Naruto.
I'll look it up later.
But I knew this was going to be a thing. I called it. I called it, like, in the chat. It was great. Kendall Sky has also asked for her release, while Troy McClane was cut. Gaming journalist Daniel Reichert said he spoke to Pat Patterson, who loves Sami Zayn's work, but producers aren't as thrilled that Vince McMahon doesn't watch NXT. That's not surprising to me.
Oh, jeez.
Do we have it in here? No, we don't. Okay, so apparently, by the way, and I'd like to add this in as a news bit, WWE 2K15 coming to PC.
Really now?
Oh, when the modders get their hands on that, it's going to be nuts.
2K, when they did their SummerSlam release, which I just watched the other day, there's a PC mock-up. There's a PC cover mock-up.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen. I mean, they always said they were bringing that one game to Steam, and then it never happened.
Well, yeah, but still, it's 2K, so I wouldn't be terribly surprised. I mean, the NBA games are on there, so I wouldn't be surprised if WWE made it onto Steam.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point.
I would like to see this happening. It would make me very, very happy.
How many Divas nude mods do you want? Never mind.
All of them.
Well, there's a couple of them out there that aren't mods. But we'll talk about that in the future endeavors.
They had that to hype up NXT Takedown, or Takeover, I mean. They had that random NXT match on Raw, and then nothing so far, which is really a terrible move. They should really take those top guys, sort of ease them into the transition to where eventually they just, stay on the main roster and have, main roster storylines and everything. Especially, as you said, the roster is starting to thin out a little bit between, they don't know what they're doing. Everybody, it's weird because it seems like they've put more stock into feuds lately, where every match on the card had sort of a story behind it, but it's your typical sort of just, we're fighting just because, or we're fighting because you're the champion and I'm the challenger, and not really anything more significant than that. And again, we've always talked about how, it's one thing for the pay-per-view to be a stacked card, but then you have, however many hours of TV 3 or 4 weeks before the pay-per-view to fill out.
So is anybody going to shoot me if I say I agree with Vince Russo on something?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Well, that thing is that if you're going to have the bunny, I don't think you should have him during the last hour. I think you should give the bunny and Tyler, or excuse me, not Tyler Breeze, but Adam Rose, up in front in the first block, in the first hour, because probably more kids are watching that in the early evening than in the late evening.
Well, the problem with that is the fact that it's not necessarily just a kid's thing. And what Russo doesn't understand necessarily is that it appeals to people. It appeals to people that would watch it at 10:45 at night as opposed to 8:45 at night. And it's not just necessarily that he's a kid's. That the bunny is a kid's thing. The bunny isn't a kid's thing. The bunny is a fucking fursuit wearing furry fag who's into fucking raves and drugs. That's the implication here without the PG-13.
I gotta admit, I didn't see that one coming.
Really? It's fucking obvious.
Well, come on.
Furry sex in the WWE is
the only thing missing from that is actually watching them take the MDMA.
Pretty much. Or the Molly. Which is a different thing, I think.
I don't know, I guess that, honestly, it doesn't really matter when, from about 8:30 to 10:30, that whole middle section, on most Raws, is pretty interchangeable. You could put anything, anytime. It kind of...
That's been the case for years, though. Literally for years. Okay, so Tyler Breeze joining up with Miz would be perfect at this point. I would love to see that happen. Like Miz getting a new protege, and Tyler just being the Alex Riley, who would fit him so much better than Alex Riley did.
Yeah, you got a point there.
It's worth a shot.
But that means you'd have to up Ms. Dow.
Oh, no, it wouldn't. You'd have a stunt double. You'd have a stunt double and a sidekick.
Okay.
It would work.
All right.
I have a feeling they're pushing Miz for a world title run. They're getting ready for it. Again, yeah. Not to win it, but to be a contender.
Oh, okay.
When Roman goes up for a face run. Which is what we're expecting, right?
Yeah.
When he gets back, yeah.
Well, speaking of being fresh, it appears that Christian has reportedly been cleared to return, but they really have nothing for him, and he might not even be brought back as a wrestler due to being seen as fragile due to his injuries and such. Of course, he hosted the Peep Show on the Night of Champions pre-show. Rey Mysterio recently had a stem cell procedure on his knees, which are apparently doing much better. Ric Flair missed NXT TakeOver 2 due to hospitalization, having 2 hernia surgeries, and has lost a bunch of weight. Fred Durst claimed during a concert that The Undertaker wasn't doing real well lately, but then Michelle McCool got on and denied those claims on social media. Just 2 months after announcing his retirement, Santino was hopeful to make a return to the ring after a new neck surgery.
Ooh, I'd love that.
Well, hopefully this next surgery works out for him. I would like to see that happen. The Undertaker looks, well, like an Undertaker at this point. A very tattooed, CrossFit, I am too old for my body, kind of guy.
Which is pretty damn sad.
Ric Flair having hospitalization and 2 hernia surgeries is much, much different from what we've been hearing with the personal commitment line being thrown around.
Okay, refresh my memory. What's that all about again?
He pulled out of the NXT pay-per-view because it was, whatchamacallit? He had a personal commitment, but the personal commitment turned out to be he was hospitalized.
Oh, okay. Really? He didn't tell people he was hospitalized. He just said he had a personal commitment. Damn, really? That's stupid.
And speaking of walking on glass here, I don't expect Christian to be back in the ring ever. Commentary and pre-show hell, I believe, is what they're calling it now.
Oh, God. Vince, you and your rat face bullshit.
It's not rat-face bullshit. It's just the fact that, well, Christian's just not that good. And, well, putting him back out there just to do a storyline or something other than jobbing. I mean, what use does he have?
Well, I disagree on the good part, but I think it's pretty obvious they're just not interested in using him in a real capacity, and they already struggle to use the people they do seem to want to put out there, and with fresh faces from NXT, maybe it is time to take what you can get, sort of. Kind of like Tensai and how he's an announcer now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, is that he'll transfer into that role more than likely.
Well, I believe we have a wrap up here.
Cassandra Frazier, widow of Viscera, claims tag partner Bobby, quote, Sermo Horn, hasn't given her any money he supposedly collected for him. Jim Ross revealed that one of the stipulations for signing Brock Lesnar was that they sign his teammate Shelton Benjamin. WWE and WWE Network win 4 gold and 13 silver W3 awards by the Academy of Interactive and Visual Arts. A male fan hopped the barricade after Raw to try and hug Cena and was tackled, although Cena ran up and gave him a high five as he was being carried away.
Well, that was nice of him.
Too bad there's no running for life.
You don't want to encourage that kind of behavior.
He wanted a hug. He didn't want to punch him out.
Yeah, this is different than the last Joker that hopped in the ring with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero made him feel nice for about 5 seconds until he gave him a clothesline.
Yeah, well, you never know. Hopping the barricade's a bad thing, and typically if you hop the barricade, they automatically assume you're going to screw something up, so they pretty much take no liberties with shutting you down. And I don't just mean security, I mean the wrestlers themselves are pretty quick to dole out some kicks, some shots.
Well, I mean, it's usually the basically what we've known since day one is once you cross that barricade, you're in their world, and once you're in their world, they could kick your ass.
Yep.
They are in their own world, aren't they? Especially with this Night of Champions pay-per-view.
Oh, dear Jesus Christ, don't get me started on that yet.
Oh, there's a segue if I've ever heard one.
Alright, fine. 15-minute time limit. Alright, so we're going to get into the 15-minute time limit here. basically what it is we're going to talk for 15 minutes about a particular topic. This is going to be the most painful 15 minutes of the fall season. We're going to talk about WWE Night of Champions 2014.
I think someone has strong feelings about that.
This show is well, it goes downhill pretty much. It starts at the top and it goes downhill. So Golden Stardust defeated the Usos to become the new tag team champions in a pretty fun match.
Yeah, I like this match a lot. Quick, a lot of good moves, a lot of good spots.
It had a very good flow. There weren't many moments I can remember where, somebody was in a hold or somebody was, not sort of on their feet. Doing that whole kind of, one man goes out, the other man kind of comes in, even though that's not legal tagging under American rules. I actually had kind of predicted that they might keep it on the Usos, but it was about time for Golden Stardust as sort of the hot team to get the titles.
Isn't this something that we've been calling for about 10 months now?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you think of so many other teams that have kind of been hot and never really got their shot, like the Primetime Players, for example.
Those guys. Yes, Crime Time. Oh my god. Crime Time could have had those titles.
Isn't that the biggest rib though?
Times during their...
What? Isn't that the biggest rib though? Your gimmick is that you steal things, and the only thing stolen from you is the WWE Tag Team title shot.
So, I hate to not say much about the match because it was rather pretty good, but, I mean, in a way, it's a kind of a compliment because if it was boring or if there wasn't much, or if, there were a lot of stupid things about it, then you could say more about it other than, hey, it was pretty good. Transition what's that?
Sheamus defeating Cesaro to retain the U.S. Championship. This was the match of the night.
Yeah, surprising that it came from Sheamus, but yeah.
Cesaro's really becoming that guy. I know people don't see him that way because they still think of him as like, you compare Sheamus and Cesaro, people are gonna just automatically in their mind think Cesaro's more of a new head. But the reality is, he's really making a lot of people look good in the ring.
That's what he's good at. And Sheamus definitely is one of those people that's got Ultimate Warrior syndrome, which is he needs someone else to complement him to be able to look good in the ring. He can't stand alone as his own entity to be, decent. Not to say that he's bad, but to say that when he's complimented by somebody else, it's really good. And this particular match was really good because both of them had similar styles, tough, European, and they wanted to kick each other's throats in. Now, the ending was kind of subpar because I expected Cesaro to kick out of the blow kick. But the only person to really do that is Big Show. So there you go.
Yeah, Oh, yes, we can't have the Swiss Superman doing something that Super Saiyan Cena can't do.
Yeah, well, the good thing it was hard hitting, but this is the kind of match I don't necessarily want to see again and again and again. Which, speaking of, you talk about the Miz defeating Dolph Ziggler to win the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, then they had the rematch on Raw where Ziggler was able to regain said championship.
That was
yeah,
amazing.
gotta love them 24-hour title reigns.
They're not bad when you do it in moderation. You can't,
Yep. Kane's reign back in the day was something of a surprise, but doing this, flipping it the way they did, that was fun. It hadn't been done in a long time, and honestly, if you're going to do it with, they wanted to do it with the WWE Championship so goddamn bad, with fucking, making Cena win for this particular pay-per-view, which he didn't. Spoilers. It's something fun to see, and I enjoyed it. I was very, very unhappy that Miz won, because I knew that Yankem would come in here and you could start gloating like a motherfucker, because he'd be like, look at the Miz, he beat Dolph Ziggler. I really like the Miz. I wish I could actually see his Hollywood car. I wish I was Maurice.
Oh, Lord, you sound like that guy from Sprockets.
Why are you doing a horrible German accent? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, because you're a dentist and you're weird.
No. I'm sorry, how does German and dentist, how do those two go together?
I have no idea.
Goes together better than dentist in Britain. Anyway, moving along.
But seriously, though, I prepared myself on Sunday night for the Yankem going, oh, look at the Miz being awesome. No. No.
The Miz isn't that bad.
Yes, he is.
He's really not.
We could spend the rest of the 8 minutes and 46 seconds we have on that.
But we'll move on to Seth Rollins defeating Roman Reigns via forfeit, then issued an open challenge, which Dean Ambrose answered, and there was a no contest.
Oh, my Lord. When Dean came out of that cab, the whole frickin' arena exploded. And I was thinking he was through with this movie, so how much longer were they going to keep him on the shelf with a faux injury? Well, with Roman Reigns gone, they need him back badly, so there he was.
By the way,
like we said, good timing.
I've decided as well that we are looking at The Shield is the new Trinity of Wrestling.
Say what now?
The new Trinity of Wrestling. Back in the Attitude Era, you had the Trinity of Wrestling, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Triple H. Those were the three guys back in the Attitude Era that were the biggest. Triple H by a distant third, but he was definitely the biggest. I would like to submit to this particular panel that Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins all fit into the respective roles. Roman Reigns being The Rock, Seth Rollins being Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Seth Rollins being Triple H, and Dean Ambrose being Stone Cold Steve Austin of this particular era. And I bet you anything, 6 months from now, when we're building to WrestleMania, I guarantee you that is exactly what they're going to. That's exactly what they're going to be building towards.
Wow.
Time will tell, certainly. Somebody, as I alluded to earlier, somebody else I think is on track for kind of a main event spot. We had Rusev defeating Mark Henry by submission. And I really see shades of Brock Lesnar in Rusev. Not necessarily as the next big thing, but just for a big guy, he's so athletic. He's so virile in the ring, if you will, with the drop kicks and the speed, and he doesn't really seem to get very tired. And plus, he's really very good at crafting a match in terms of, selling things and, making his opponent look good, too.
Just in overall doing things you wouldn't expect a big guy his size to be able to do.
Omega believes that Rusev is virile. Be sure to send your Omega BR and Rusev fanfictions to OmegaBR at smarksmark.com. He'll read every last one of those.
Good Lord, it's episode 69 all over again on
169, folks.
Oh my God, 169. We're going to do it again.
We're doing it again. No, I like Rusev. He is very athletic for a guy built the way that he is. I don't know if he's like a main eventer, though. I mean, it just might be my opinion, but to me, he doesn't seem to have it.
I'm sorry, my friend, but I completely disagree. Rusev, quite possibly, is one of the best talents, pound for pound, that they have on the roster right now. His story and the way they've built his character up is epic. I haven't seen a character built this well since Umaga, and Umaga was built very, very, very well.
And that's surprising in today's day and age with subpar stories, unfortunately, we have to deal with from time to time. But do you think Lana is part of that? I mean, would he be as good without her?
It could turn into a split of some sort, but I don't understand how we're going to make him face. And now the name that we're not mentioning here, by the way, is Bray Wyatt as well. So, I mean, he's in the background just kind of, thinking about things right now.
Yeah, Bunny Cat needs to hop to it if he's going to have any lasting impact.
But neither here nor there. Rusev is one of the best talents that they have right now. And here's a fun fact: Rusev has not, in any of his matches, attempted a pinfall.
Really?
Ever since his WWE debut, he has not attempted a pinfall.
That makes for another interesting little sidebar for when he finally faces an opponent that it seems like he must try to get a pin on.
Okay, we need to move on, people.
Randy Orton defeated Chris Jericho in a match that we've seen before.
Several times.
I think you said that wrong. I think what you meant to say was Jericho put somebody over before he goes to tour with Fozzy.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a bad match, but let's be honest, compared to the others, it was something of a filler match, and that's kind of what Orton matches have become in a way.
I think I was doing homework during this particular match. I didn't really pay attention too much, and I didn't really care.
AJ defeated Paige and Nikki Bella to win the Divas Championship, and then last night went ass to ass with Nikki, and I was curious what the fuck was going on, because the move in the ropes, it didn't make any fucking sense. It made less sense than an Irish whip.
AJ defeated, at least it's not Nikki. At least it's not Nikki.
It's not that I wanted to see Nick's champ, but, AJ is champ again. Who can, this flip-flopping, no interest,
And then the match that my internet went out of.
So Cena defeated Lesnar by disqualification after Rollins attacked him, attempted to cash in. Cena attacked him back. There was no cash in. Lesnar got that final F5 to kind of stand tall. Still champion at the end of the pay-per-view. This is what happens when you kind of have to force things, I mean, Lesnar isn't going to... I'm confident Lesnar is not going to compete on every pay-per-view. He probably isn't going to compete at Hell in a Cell. So this is kind of what you have to do to kind of force the situation.
Have no idea where we're going this right now. It's just over my head completely. I don't see an out here.
I mean, you can do Cena Rollins.
The out is moving on from Cena. I was moving away from Cena and getting Brock to face somebody else and to have a number one have the match. They're going to have a match. It's going to be the three of them in the Hell in a Cell at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and Seth is going to get the shit kicked out of him, and Cena is going to, basically Cena's going to lose again, and then Seth is going to come in and he's going to try to steal it again, and it's going to be denied again, and we're going to get this shit all over again. I think Dolph did it like 5 or 6 times, where he would cash in and fake it, cash in and fake it, and I think Edge has done that maybe once or twice, but at the same time it's like, I want to see them cash in. I want to see him actually do it.
Well, you could have easily had Rollins actually do it. You'd steal the title, and there's your big, thing. But again, it's kind of a matter of they're dead set on having Lesnar seemingly stretched to WrestleMania as champion. And again, then you have to fill in the gaps, and this is what happens when you have to force it.
Yikes. Just yikes.
And the match itself was not horrible. I mean... It wasn't really any different than their other matches, other than the fact that Cena, managed to get his offense in.
managed to get some sort of offense in, but it was a boring match nonetheless. And the fact that it ended in such a way, it just didn't. It didn't make sense. Seth even watched like 4 cash-ins and whatnot.
Yeah, and the whole novelty of Lesnar in a match is starting to wear because it's like
Alright, there it is. That's it for our 15-minute time limit. Thank God that was over. I never ever want to speak of that pay-per-view again. And it's actually stirred up quite an appetite for me.
Yes, failure breeds hunger, or something like that. Who wants an ice cream cone?
I want a root beer float.
I want Jimmy's.
I think it would be really creepy if that Jester came out of a fan and said, "Who wants an ice cream float?" Drive-through. It's time for the Dairy Queen drive-through. With the ratings this week, Yankum DDS.
Alright, here we go. I overscrolled. Let's see here. Impact drew a .88 or 9 cable rating, which is up 6% from last week's episode. Hooray! Let's see. SmackDown drew a 1.86 or 1.9 if you're rounding up cable rating, which is down 5% from last week's 1.95. And Raw, I want you to brace yourselves. Is everyone holding on to your butts? Because it's ugly. Raw scored a 2.69 cable rating, down from the 2.79 cable rating the show drew last week.
Damn, that hurts.
That is god-awful. But you know what's worse? Birthdays with that Jester.
Sort of like breakfast with Blassie and that sort of thing. With the birthdays, person, place, or thing. On the 23rd of this week, we have Angel Dust / Azrael, which is not the cat from the Smurfs, but actually a Batman villain. Then we have Matt Hardy, version 1. I think version 2 has another birthday some other time. Then we have Japanese wrestler Osama Nishimura. I think I got that right. And on the 24th, we have Bison Smith, not to be confused with M. Bison. Then somebody you can't be confused about one way or another, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. Hi, Steph. And then confusion all around because it's April Hunter. And if you've ever seen a picture of April Hunter, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then on the 25th, we have none other than one of my personal favorites, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. The 26th, we have... Oh, this one's going to be tough. Nachomichi Marufuji. Okay.
You did that,
Yeah.
Any arguments from the Peanut Gallery? Nope.
No, that was pretty good.
And then we have my, seriously, is this your fake one?
No.
Packet Cut. K-U-N-T. Pocket Tunt. Yeah, right.
It's Fat Cunt, you will literally
Packet?
fuck. Fat Cunt.
Oh.
It's Fat Cunt. It's my Fat Cunt.
That's disgusting.
All right, I'm sorry to hear
Get
that.
that out of here.
I'm sorry to hear that, but maybe you can have it changed with surgery. Anyway, on the 28th, we have... Then Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman, the one, the only, the one guy I wish would come back just for the hell of it. Followed by the 29th by Bingo Gambino, Toji Makabe. I think that's Japanese. Makabe. Damn it! I always get that one wrong. David Sammartino and Yoshihiro Tajiri, the Japanese buzzsaw.
All right. With that behind us, and now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, this week in wrestling history, circa 1965, where Bruno Sammartino's WWF title belt was stolen out of a locked car while Sammartino was eating in a restaurant following an event. In Madison Square Garden, that belt was never recovered. Jump to 1966, where Ben Mikel Sasculuna and Slasher Sloan defeat Johnny Valentine and Antonio Pugliese to win the United States Tag Team title when Pugliese can't continue during the second fall due to injury. And in 1996, it was Kensuke Sasaki defeats Shiro Koshinaka in the finals of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Japan US All-Star Tournament, where Sasaki defeated Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Scott Norton on his road to winning, while Koshinaka beat Hugh Morris, Sting, and Shinya Hashimoto to reach the finals himself. And that was this weekend, wrestling history.
That's pretty awesome.
Seriously, we're dead air tonight.
Somebody dropping
What the
off
fuck?
cliff.
What the fuck?
I
Okay,
don't know.
so my buttons apparently working randomly. I would highly recommend actually watching that clip, watching that particular tournament, because it was very good. Happy Trails this week. Sunny, after she reportedly suffered a seizure at an autograph sighting, though she claims she just got dizzy and passed out after not eating. And somber happy trails to Michael Moody, son of Paul Bearer. He actually passed away in his sleep recently, and he was 34. And happy trails to anyone hoping for a John Cena heel turn, as his merchandise reportedly outsells the rest of the roster combined, and live events where he is appearing, averaging $60,000 more. Yeah. What should we watch this week in wrestling? Yankum DDS.
Fucking nothing.
Wow, that's a pretty awful suggestion, Yankum. I'm going to come back to you because you don't have one. Jester, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
All right, I just quickly trod over to my DVD shelf. And there I find the original ECW Unreleased Volume 1. Now, I've been doing Volume 2 for the longest time, so I'll just pick a good one here at random. Oh, here's something. This is a little bit of a favorite of mine because it's got an international flair. Rob Van Dam and Sabu with the ECW World Tag Team Champions versus none other than the legend of Frontier Mountain Championship Wrestling, Hayabusa, and let's see if I'm pronouncing this right, Jinsei Shinzaki. That was a pretty good match.
Close enough. Oh my god, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
Well, if you didn't catch it the other week, I would suggest watching NXT TakeOver 2, as it was top to bottom. Even the squash matches were done with a certain decency. You know, it's an example of a show that WWE can put out that's actually good. You know, it gives you a nice sort of here's where the future is heading. You know, they have some very colorful characters on NXT and some great action-packed wrestling. Of course, several "This Is Wrestling" chants, which you don't always hear on television these days. So,
Now that's for damn
the
sure.
Raw and SmackDown.
And I have to, just to break into that real quick, sorry, but I have two words for you. The Vaudevillians.
Bull. Not that I, don't like the guy or anything. Yankum, do you have a real suggestion, or are you just going to be a crabby little boy?
Well, I mean, I'm mad, but I guess I'll give some kind of factual suggestion. So here's a match that's near and dear to my heart. Find on YouTube, it's available, Mike Levy versus Mikey Knuckles.
This week I'm going to suggest Total Divas, because oh man,
And that's why I'm mad, because I knew you were going to do that.
Okay, fine. How about the Fale versus Nakamura for the IWGP Intercontinental title at the recent pay-per-view that New Japan Pro Wrestling did, which was a fantastic match. There you go. So I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe that's it for this particular week. Thank you all for listening. So we've got some plugs here. You can check us out at smartsnark.com. Smartsnark.com is where we have all our podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/smartsnark. Facebook, facebook.com/smartsnark. Twitter.com/smartsnark is also where we're located, because Yankum and I try to tweet on Monday nights about Raw and all other things that are good. Besides that, that's it. So do me a favor and take care. Spike your hair.
I thought we weren't doing that anymore.
It's a habit.
Alright, I'm going to do this one time. Next time, we'll be right there.
I don't remember
it's better.
I don't remember it, so that's why I did that. There you go.
Thank you for listening, and as always, we wish you the best in your past, present, and future endeavors.
I'm so confused, but goodbye, everybody.
Good night, Pawtucket.